operations perspective, it's easy to make a money. It's a social event, lots of food, and then the one-time event. But for their sales perspective, make a business relationship with a major company was huge. So they just put the wedding event and other way, and then they actually book this event for their cooperation relationship. So, it was really informative, so encouraging. So I want you guys kind of, so learn her session to considering to consider your future career path, just more broadly. It's not just, yeah, I want to have an event manager, I want a restaurant manager, but there's a lot of way you can connect each other. Okay. So thank you, Jennifer. I start to recording, and then today, so we're going to have a encouraging guest. So, and also she mentioned, we're gonna have a really good job opening in this year, yeah, this spring and summer and fall. So that's great. And then this week, Thursday, we have two guest speaker. They are sitting here. I mean, not virtual meeting, but they were our student. Yeah, they were us 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but right now they are operation manager and event manager. So I want to use have some good insight from our former student. Okay, so let's do our hot topic presentation. Jose, are you ready? Okay. Oh, this is the. So, are you ready, Jose?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, are you going to share your screen?
Yes. Let me just do that real quick. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I was going to talk about how restaurants can immerse themselves into events, because I kind of want to go into the restaurant industry, and I think knowing how to get your restaurant into events can be a really good source of revenue and a really good way to get your name out there. So the first thing is, what type of event should restaurants be able to attend? Pretty much any event that needs food or wants food is an easy way to get in. I kind of try to highlight like 3 different ways restaurants can try and attend events. Probably the most common would be catering, and then the next would be promotional material, and this is mainly for restaurants in the nearby area. Let's say you have a wedding at a hotel, maybe you can promote your restaurant that's near that hotel. And then the last is probably food trucks. I actually work in a food truck right now, so this is probably like closest to my experience. So I feel like I can speak on it a little more. And it's like just barely coming into like popularity. It's slowly increasing popularity. Catering is the most common way for restaurants to attend events. It's really easy to adjust the size, and then it also can promote their business within the event, which is really nice, because not only will you get the revenue from the event, but you could potentially get revenue from people who like your food and want to come to your actual restaurant. The food is brought to the event, and so you have all your kitchen equipment that you can use, and you can also tailor it specific to the event. So maybe it's like a Latino heritage event. You can make food from a specific region for that event. So it's really customizable. The next is promotional material. It's usually included in the DMO of a location. So if you look on the DMO of like Nashville or Denver, you'll find like restaurants that are nearby. Also, some like small hotels, especially in really big tourist places, they have this like little stand at the front where they have a bunch of pamphlets. So that's another way to promote. Location, especially if you're just doing promotional material, location to the event is really how you're going to get the most people coming, because you wouldn't want to promote this is a really large example, but let's say if you have an event in Denver, you wouldn't want it would be really hard for people to go to your restaurant in Longmont per se, because it's not even close. So somewhere in Denver would probably be the best. Another issue is you also have to compete with other restaurants in the area for that event revenue that you can generate. Last one is food trucks. Food trucks can do catering, and they're not really suitable for huge events.
Mm-hmm.
But for stuff like graduation parties or farmers markets are really good for food trucks, like small gatherings. Flexible on payment methods pretty much means they can either pay the food truck like a flat rate, or they pay you a minimum, and then everything after that is whatever is like you can go above. That you can go anywhere. So if you want to have an event in Longmont and you want to hire a food truck from Denver, you can do that. You just have to arrange the payment. It's also it's most popular during the summer because of course nobody wants to go outside in the middle of winter, especially like recently no one wants to go to food trucks. So it's more suited for areas like Florida or California, like more coastal areas that pretty much have summer all year round, or our definition of summer all year round. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, great topic. Thank you. You guys have any question? Okay. You said you're working in the food trucks. What the food you are handling? I mean, who's
What
that?
food?
Yeah, what truck?
So we do like the owner calls it Colorado comfort food. So we do a lot of green chili and like chorizo and like that kind of stuff, like local ingredients. We use a lot of bison, locally raised beef, that kind of stuff. And we haven't really been going to too many events. In the winter, we were going to a bunch or like in the summer, we were going to a bunch of farmers markets. That was a big one. But we've been going to breweries a lot. So because breweries, I don't know if they're still required, but they were required to have food to serve food for the hours that they were open, or they would have to do their COVID regulations based. They'd have to serve foods, but if they serve food, they'd have to adjust the regulations to act as a restaurant. And a lot of them don't have that experience, like that big of a kitchen to be able to work with that, so they just hire food trucks. And usually for small places like that, it's more based on like every customer just pays for themselves. But if you were doing like a trivia night at a brewery, that you might be able to pay the brewery might be able to pay a flat rate and do a limited menu, and then everyone could just come and pick up food like whatever they wanted out of the limited menu. So.
Yeah, I have, in the Golden, there's Cannon Brewery. They do not have kitchen. So I saw that they have a food truck. And then our house, this neighborhood area, so during the COVID-19, so every third Thursday, we invite the food truck to have the place that. So yeah, so yeah, right. So yeah, that's a great point. Yes, Maddie said. So, anyone has any suggestion, thought, or question for that? Okay.
I was just gonna say that so I live like way out in the suburbs, and so I think that maybe if food trucks would do more advertising, like out further away from Denver, they actually might get a lot more business, especially with COVID, because I just know for me, I like going into Denver and to like all the other surrounding areas. But there's a lot of people who want the food, but they don't want to make the trek. They feel like it's too far. And I just think that maybe if they did more advertising out here, they actually would be surprised and get more businesses.
Yeah, it's kind of
something
it kind of depends on each of the trucks. I don't know if mine does, but like we get contacted from all over the place. Like we're based out of Parker, and we've been to like Golden a couple times. So I guess it just depends. But like if you're a restaurant that has a food truck, it's a lot easier to promote yourself, especially within the community that you're serving and further. But if you're just a food truck, it's like pretty much only social media and word of mouth. So yeah.
Yeah, I had an event. It was 2009, 2018 in Indianapolis. There is the MPI World Educational Congress. At lunchtime, they have arranged the 20 different food trucks in the park area. So we kind of rotate every different type of food, but was, I will tell if you have a time the next time, special event production time. It was some logistic issues having the 20 different truck, but that is a great idea for the local festival. I believe Mia is going to present the next presentation, but Mia is taking the another course, event project planning, and your team is working in the food truck festival, right?
Yes, we're
Right.
doing a food truck festival.
So I'm very excited about this project for the another course as well, because it will be really big hit, big trend, even during the COVID-19. As you mentioned, you joined a lot of the festival event the winter. So I think
And I didn't realize how much work it would be, like how much has to come together for something that seems so simple. Like there's so many different parts.
Right.
For that festival that we're planning.
Yeah, it is. It's really, so that's why event management is variety and then lots of fun working with four different type of unit. Okay, so good. Yeah, thank you, Jose. And then we are going to have Mia to present food and beverage.
Okay.
Event.
Yes. So I've never shared my screen before.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to figure this out.
In the top menu, share content. Did you find it? Okay. Great.
Can you guys see it? Can you guys see me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So I'm doing my presentation on food and beverage. I'm basically just doing an informational slideshow regarding the food and beverage industry. Food and beverage operations involve purchasing, preparation, serving, maintaining inventory, and catering services of an event venue. The caterer's responsibility at an event include the preparation of food, serving it, cleaning up, and attending to diners. Obviously, with COVID-19, we're all aware of how the pandemic has failed in the event industry. With the past year's events, we all know that the event industry has changed dramatically. The way we handle guests, catering, and event planning has changed entirely. What used to be an easy way to converse with our peers is now a worldwide outbreak, preventing that face-to-face conversation. For example, the way we're doing Zoom meetings for class, the way we don't have any weddings or events to go to because it's just not safe. So first I'm going to talk about the event trends of 2020. Food and beverage choices for events are more varied, culturally informed, and sustainable. So within the event industry, social media is so important to get that word out. It's important that the food that's catered is Insta ready or aesthetically pleasing to the eye. We want our guests that are going to our events to be taking pictures and sharing it all over their social media, so we do get more people to show up. It is important to change it up every so often, and an interactive and educational experience would appeal to our guests. So that's kind of like when the cooks cook in front of you at events. I've noticed that that's really popular and what people like because it's very hands-on. Culinary teams love to be out of the kitchen and in the action, like I said, creating food in front of us. It creates a one-of-a-kind experience. So one thing I did want to touch base on is the food waste within the industry. As you guys know, I've talked about it before. I worked for Pink Monkey Solutions in Denver, this event planning company, and we set up so many events at the Gaylords, which is that huge event center. It's so pretty, so beautiful, so many venues, so many rooms in there. A lot of it is like behind the scenes for like people that are working and setting up the event. So like where people cook is like behind, like the guests don't see all of that. So when I was like walking through the Gaylord Center, like setting up a venue for a conference, like a a business conference, there's always food involved, and like the cooks cook in the back behind the scenes. And so when we were getting ready to leave like the event and like clean up after everybody, I noticed how much food was being wasted. So like, for example, some of them made mac and cheese for their event, and there was just like pounds of mac and cheese in the trash can just wasted. And I remember telling my coworker, like, why isn't this like getting donated? Why are we just throwing this away? Like, it's perfectly fine food. And apparently there's like a lot of liabilities with like handing out the food to the homeless or just like giving it out. I had no idea. But like I said, many caterers are concerned about liabilities they may face when donating food. Regulations regarding food donations differ from state to state. I'm not sure what like the protocol is for Colorado, but I do know that when I was working in Denver, like a lot of food was being wasted, and that's so sad. Like we should be doing something about that. We should be proactive about that. We must be more socially conscious about food waste. The amount of food that is wasted for every event is tremendous, and several catering services have set up food recovery partners to help minimize the food waste, but there is still more we must do. So my suggestion for that sort of thing is, say we have 50 guests at an event, instead of making meals for 100 guests, if there's only 50 guaranteed to be there, make enough for 55. Like, we don't need to be wasting as much food as we are, and it's important that we kind of hold back on that. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the food and beverage event trends of 2021. Pre-COVID, a full room was a successful event. People have gathered around tables for centuries, sharing stories, laughter, and making connections. With this pandemic, a controlled room is a successful event. So like, while a controlled room isn't as fun because it's more fun with a lot of people, it's just the way it has to be in this time and in this age. Food stations are now spread out completely across the space, rather than you going up to one station to pick up your meals or for your caterers to serve them. They're spread out throughout the event hall because we don't want people being within 6 feet of each other. We want to keep that social distance. Another huge thing with events not being a thing, people use cooking videos that they see off of TikTok, Instagram, all of their social media. So that's going to lead future events, future event guests to be looking for higher quality food and the experience aspect of it. So like I said, for 2020 trends, when people are cooking in front of you, like we want to see that now for these future trends. Last year's trends haven't gone away. We are geared towards health and social responsibility, grab and go food, food safety, sustainability, clean, locally sourced products have all seen increased use. We're all about going green and being sustainable. The event catering industry will most certainly have a strong comeback post-pandemic. Until then, we are living in old times. This is an opportunity for growth in the industry to create new ideas and bring innovation into everything we do. It could be the greatest transformation time of modern day event trends. And that was my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for bring up this one. It's great introductory for our class today. Do you have any questions? I believe Mia brought up great topic, the food waste, event food waste. Okay, you guys have any question about that? So how do you feel? I mean, you saw the lot of things just to waste, right? And then, but event industry, we always say the green and sustainability, you know, the environment friendly, but what did you see in the real world?
Yeah, for how much we always say like, hey, we want to go green, we want to be sustainable, we want to recycle, the event industry really does not do that. Like, that's the last thing they care about, I feel like, in my opinion. I mean, we're wasting so much money on food that's not even being eaten. Like, it's just being thrown away. And that's like the saddest part, because we can't give it away to people.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So we have 1 week, that is the last week. We are going to talk about sustainability, and then green issue, the recycling, and then reduce the food waste. That is kind of one of the portion of sustainability. It's not every, just one portion of that. But how about, to reduce the food waste? that take extra work. You know, we should take care of the food waste, and then we have to arrange donation and an organization to donate, and then we have to deliver the food to them. So that is kind of extra work we have to do. So so that's what I feel like. You know, I feel guilty. I felt guilty, and then also the corporate meeting area. Actually, corporation, their vision, and then their like a vision and mission is you know, environmental friendly, and we are the future. We are responsible for future, so we should do this. But actually, their behavior is not really actually what they said. So that is always, you know, that's the later, and then I feel guilty when I was working. So
right.
it's
And not only that, but a lot of the guests that are showing up to these events have no idea how much is wasted and how much we use. And so if you think about it, if they were to find out about that, I'm sure that would cause an uproar. We want to kind of be proactive about it and limit the amount of food we make more than wasting pounds of it, you know?
Yeah. So, and also, so another thing that, you know, the event association, like a MPI, PCMA, whenever they have event, and then they really provide some approach, some tool and approach how we can reduce the food waste. For example, you know, if you have the buffet, you know, there is some food waste. And then if you have the individual pack, you know, there is a lot of way we can reduce the food waste. But also at the same time, if you have packed lunch, you know, there is another trash we create, right? So that is the kind of issue. And also there is another type of serving, like a family that English plate, or you know, you know, there is a different serve type, and then that is the one of the way we can reduce the food waste. But you know, our event goal is make people happy, and then our goal is not make them consider the environment, right? So that's a kind of a dilemma. That's why event planners should have some certificate, should have some our rule to follow some the goodwill. Like a goodwill is always kind of extra work. We do not have to that because it's not regularized. I mean, as you mentioned that if you donate the food, there's a liability issue. So I posted some of the regulation that is Good Samaritan law. So it kind of protect us to not accused by the legal issue, the liability issue. But still, we may not fear. I mean, you know, that is kind of, you know, we donate the food after the event. But if someone has some disease or some food, you know, that is kind of feel guilty for us. So that's when we do event, we always have like a consideration what I can do, but also I want to do more that I do not have to do. So that kind of a sustainability thing is a thing, like this the food waste thing is really need to consider, but it's the real world that is kind of extra work we need to put. Yeah, I really appreciate Mia, you brought up this food waste thing in the event industry. It's huge. And then some of the event industry association, their annual conference, their goal is zero food waste, something like that. So our event goal for this year is one of the SMART goal. So SMART goal objective. So we make 0% of food waste. I don't know how they measure it, but everything they just measure it. So, but yeah, that is kind of, you know, they kind of make a signature event to highlight that. Okay. So yeah, thank you, Mia. It was great topic for today. Okay,
Thank you.
then also the Mia brought up some thing that you know, the people don't know how busy, you know, how many things out of the event venue, right? So we called event planners SWAN. You know, when SWAN look like, I just brought up some image here. Yeah. So we called our job is like a SWAN. So we look like a calm and beautiful, and this is a fantastic job. Like you see, it's really, what is the illustrator? Swan. Okay, so one here. Yeah, it look like this. We are look like a calm and then fantastic job. You really enjoy that. But to maintain this job, we just paddle a lot. Under the water, we are so busy, and then we feel like yeah, right. So this is kind of a signature image of as an event planner. Great topic presentation. I really appreciate it. And then also let's see our course. Okay, food and beverage management. Okay, honestly speaking, I'm the I was event planner, but that is this food and beverage is kind of least interesting area in my position, because I always rely on the hotel catering, and then we didn't. I mean, I really didn't that time. I was not the person that really appreciate food and beverage. And then when I was in the event in the France, Paris and France, it was a kind of competition. It was kind of RFP. I throw out the RFP to three major catering company. And then when I went to the site inspection, they invite us, like each company invite us to tasting their menu. Because the event, we had 600 people in the gala dinner. And then that time we just, the individual cost, food cost for one person was more than $100, just one meal. So we were it's 600 people. So kind of that time, it was 2005. It was kind of the large setting event. And then I was invited in the tasting, just for the tasting in the cave. And then they provide amazing table. And then there's very, very authentic cultural cuisine that they prepare. And then they were so proud of the food. But I was not the person really enjoy that time. I really didn't recognize wine either. I mean, so I feel really guilty when they focus a lot on food and beverage, but I didn't appreciate them much. But food and beverage management is something that we really work with expertise, and then who love the food and beverage. But as an event planner, we need manage that food and beverage management for our event. So our events, most important thing is for your event objective, your event goal and objective. So your event is social, and then like educational. Food and beverage is support to your event, but social event, food and beverage is kind of a huge portion of that. So it's depending on your event goal and objective. Food and beverage, the food F&B is supporting, make highlight your event. Okay, so you need to decide. You have to consider that way. So when you think about food and beverage management, we need to consider this topic. So here, so the describe the major difference between off-site catering and on-site catering. So the last week I asked Riz the include some on-site catering. So hotel has their kitchen. If they make a food on site, inside of the venue, that is on-site catering. But they do not have capacity. They invite outside of that, that is off-site catering. But I want to have a question, Mia. And then when you have an event in Gaylord, you use their kitchen, right? So how you define yourself, your work is off-site, I mean, the off-site catering, or you had a contract with Gaylord and then you work as your like a vendor?
So typically, like, I never worked with food there. I would see people cooking and I would see like the food aspect of it. I was more like, I'd set up furniture, set up like the event space, the lighting, like I did that aspect of it. But
Okay.
at the Gaylords, it's all together. Like we're all crammed like behind the scenes, like there's people lugging furniture around
Mhm.
and cooking food and like making drinks at the bar, like all behind the scenes.
Okay. Thank you, Mia. So last week, Liz mentioned there is catering revenue from meeting, right? But they do not have a specific one. They can reach out the catering company, provide some specialized food. If their own site cannot cover, cannot satisfy their client requirement, they can hire off-site like a catering company to provide a certain food. That case, some even the catering company they can use the facility and then provide the food. And did you remember the Liz said, they're gonna make up like a markup is the kind of commission, it's type of commission. If hotel arrange me, as an event planner, we had a contract with the hotel and the hotel provide any service we want the as your client want because they can customize. They have third-party vendors, so they include them to provide any service their client want. That means when they include the third-party company, they have a commission, the markup. So if the like outside the company provide the service like a $1,000, they include 10% of markup. So this is commission. So that's why the event planner, like a sales person and event planner, event management service in hotel, get a 10% of margin from this like arrangement. Okay. So even the on-site catering is hotel provided the service in the facility. And then if they cannot, and then they hire the off-site catering. And also off-site catering is, we're gonna hire the catering company this Thursday. So yeah, they're gonna bring some more example for us. Okay, so there is the on-site catering and off-site catering. So on-site catering is we have a facility, kitchen here, so provide food and beverage. And then if you some hotel limited service do not have the catering facility, they can hire off-site catering or any other venue like a tent outside. We can kind of invite and arrange the food truck and off-site catering. So that is the differences. And they list various type of food function and service style. So we're gonna talk about the type of food function and then differentiate between the various type of beverage service and then recognize most common food allergy and food preference thing that because the food is another thing that we really, really consider is reduce any risk. So if someone has food poison from the event, that is a huge issue. And also allergy. And then the allergy thing is getting more serious because people are more vulnerable to environment. And then the allergy, I didn't have allergy and then like 30 years ago. And then when I was working in the industry, even the South Korea, our Korean population didn't have that allergy as many as you guys have here. So I didn't think about the allergy thing. And then that time, like 20 years ago, the social norm is if you have allergy, you have to take care of your health. That is a kind of abnormal situation that each individual who has allergy, you should take care of yourself. That was kind of social norm in 20 years and 30 years. But right now, food provider, catering company, and event planner, we should take care of our attendees' health. So this food allergy thing, and then also these days, your every attendee has a different preference. You may have a vegan, the attendees, and the vegetarian, and then different type of food, the preferences. So we need customize. We need to follow each individual's preference. That is something that we need to consider. So that is the main subject, the main outcome that we need to get in this week. So here, so group meals in hotel. Let's say that we have a 3 days meeting in the hotel or resort. So we're gonna have a breakfast, lunch, break, and then reception or dinner, and then coffee break as well. You know, the coffee break is coffee, the snack is expensive. In the hotel, the Gaylord or any hotel, they require you to use that their break is like a coffee and the snack, because hotel can provide this one. But if the hotel do not have the capacity, you can bring some coffee outside of the area. But this time, hotel make a revenue from room and food. Rental is just the space that the hotel can attract more people, make a contract with the hotel to reserve the room. So room and food is the second revenue area. So the breakfast, lunch, this one is that hotel as an event venue really consider. So, and also if you're working in the event venue only, it's a great event venue, you may have like on-site kitchen, on-site catering business that make a revenue. That food and beverage revenue is more expensive than the rental, or your event venue has a higher rental price. Okay, that is the thing. And then the basic consideration, when you set up your food and beverage menu, and then you have to consider this kind of question: is this meal, is this function, is business or social? Or who's attending? Your attendees is over your demographic of the attendees. So the female, like how many percent of population, like a 50%, 50-50, the half and half, and woman and female and male, or this is a family oriented event, this is public event. So this is our event is the 50 people, the board member, like executive level, the higher leadership event. And we have, still we have a lot of disproportion of the population in gender. So we have 80% of male over 50, and then 20% of female. Based on that, your food plan should be different. And is it formal or casual? And then this is another important thing: is alcoholic beverage to be served? The alcoholic service is included or not? Because liability issue, and then the alcohol, you should have a special permit to handle the alcohol. And the other special diet or other special need must be accommodated, mean the special diets. How many people is vegan, vegetarian? In the registration situation, when you attend the registered event, you have to identify your attendees' special diet, and then any special needs. Okay, what type of food service? It's more like a natural, or food service desire or appropriate. So if you have a corporate meeting, during the meeting is you have a gala dinner, so award ceremony. Then you're gonna have a CEO, you're gonna have a lot of stakeholders, a sponsor, that a VIP, that you need to take care of that. Then you cannot have a packed dinner, you cannot have a buffet. So based on your event, your type of food service is determined. Then what is the time frame? Is the morning time, lunch time, and then like a late evening time. The time frame is also important. And then your dinner event has a speaker or entertainers. That is another thing that you have to consider. So one of the corporate meeting experience, and then was kind of a major bank company like Chase or Wells Fargo or something like that. And then every end of the year, they host a VIP, like a valuable, like a VIP customers, or like a appreciate dinner. They create some appreciate dinner, invited their top like 500 VIP customer in the different local area. So the example in here, like Chase Bank Operation Dinner, they invite 500 people in New York, in Denver, in LA. So we had a contract the series of the event, and then we had the event in the major city, major 5 city there. And then that time, the CEO of the bank company, he's a big fan of the one of the celebrity, the singer. Okay, so we hired that singer because the CEO loved to have her in that event. So we hired them. And he's a great. She is a really popular singer at that time. And then we designed the event like in the dessert time after all the main meal is over. And then when we had like a turn down the room, like a turn down the light, and then she show up and then play the performance for 30 minutes. And then that time was kind of our dessert time. Dessert was served, but people was eating their dessert, okay? But she was a celebrity. She didn't like, she hate to listen the people like clicking the, like a spoon and then, there's people very, the sound was really, was not the major thing, but the artist, the celebrity was really like a picky. She was picky. So she complained, oh my God, I'm singing, please be quiet. You're like a noisy, this noise is really distracting me. So that kind of thing was, I never expected, but that happened. And also I told you the CEO loved, he was a big fan of her. So after that, there was a second city that we visit, we worked, and then the third city, so we changed the timeline. So when she was operation, when she played, we kind of changed our event timeline so prevent any noise for her performance. It's that kind of thing. Will there be speaker or entertainment during the meal? So your speaker is a VIP, and then if you invite a really famous speaker, like do you remember that the previous election, the president election, the one of the president candidate, Mrs. Clinton. Yeah, she was kind of she was really famous speaker for the corporation, and then inspiring speaker, and her speaker like the price is it's really expensive. So when he was in the campaign, he was criticized by her price, the guarantee for the speaking, her speakers in the event. So. Anyway, so if you have that kind of VIP speaker in your event, then you may consider different menu or the different plan for your food and beverage. Yeah, and then and also another thing is the most important, not most, second important is budget. And then most important thing is your event goal and objective. That is the first one. Event goal and the objective is the first one you have to consider. And the budget. Okay, food and beverage best practice is good nutrition, and then primary dietary requests should take up precedence in meal planning. So your attendees, so every registration situation, you have to collect the data, your attendees dietary with the limitation, dietary request. And then good nutrition is something that if you have, like educational meeting, like a training, you should provide good nutrition for their brand work. And then like identify attendees with allergies, special requests to chef and the wait staff supervisors. So when you operate your food, you have to identify any sign this person, if you're at the seated table, you have to identify who's need some menu. But that's why if your event is just public, it's too many people, like 2,000 people, you served the food for 2,000 people, you cannot handle this kind of thing individually. So that case, so you may have a buffet, you may have some like a packed lunch so they can pick, and there we provide every type of option for individual, but the individual take care of their preference that way. So you can find out some method and type out that we serve the food that, and then accommodate the cultural or religious restriction. And then that mean even we have an event in another country, but in South Korea, our corporate meeting is our corporation. My client corporation is Korean company like Hyundai and Samsung, and then attendee 30% of attendee are Korean. And then even though we have an event in Paris, even though we have an event in India, they provide kimchi. Kimchi is one of the like a signature event, the signature menu for Korean. So even though when you had an event in another country, they provide kimchi. And then they suggest us, yeah, do you need the kimchi for your event? So yes, most of the time, no, yeah, you do not have to that one. But it's different. It's always different depending on your client. Yeah. Religious restriction. And then if you have some attendees from Middle East, so we need to have the special food for them too. And then the label or buffet item to show that what is the ingredient. And then is there any possible the possible risk like a gluten-free or vegan menu? So we have to show that we display the ingredient and the prep. So try to avoid any possible food poisoning and the food problem. Okay. So on-premise catering and off-site catering, on-site catering. So I mentioned when I mentioned about the learning objective, on-premise catering is the take place at the kitchen, but off-premise catering is kind of delivery, their food service. Okay, so in Colorado, in the state of Colorado, we have a lot of outdoor event, and then Jose brought up today. Food truck is kind of new ways, really popular last 5 or 10 years. Last 5 years. I would say that 5 years. And one of my friends from my master's program, he created food truck after he graduated the master's program. He created a food truck. So he made 2 food trucks right now, and then he operated 1 big brewery right now in the Houston. I think 10 years ago, that was 2008. I thought that is a kind of very creative idea to start a business in food truck that time. But right now, as a food truck is kind of one of the big trend. Okay. So on-site catering, off-site catering, and again, the last week, Liz talked about on-site catering from hotel. And then this coming Thursday, we're gonna invite the 3 Tomato, that is off-site catering company. So they can deliver the service. They work with the venue, event venue, and then they provide the catering service. I'm just so excited to have them to this class. Okay. And then breakfast, there's the different type of breakfast. Continental breakfast is the most common because it's least expensive. So when you go to the affordable hotel, and then you can have this kind of continental breakfast for free, bread, pastry, juice, hot beverage, but it did not include any hot meal, just a hot beverage. And then this continental breakfast, they can make package. So hotel or they can make a package per person, the price per person, and direct or extended continental breakfast. I mentioned that hotel or service industry, we can customize any special request for our client. So we can add some extended continental breakfast, additional item and cereal, fresh food, or cheese, something like that. And then full breakfast the full breakfast buffet is plus deluxe continental, and then hot and cold cereal. So we can customize based on the design, where actually most hotel provide the basic program of the food and beverage program, the menu, but also we can customize that if you want. And then can be priced by amount ordered per person. Like imagine that the buffet service, breakfast buffet service for 50 people, and then 1,000 people. It's different. So that's why hotel really prefer to large group for their event. So your hotel, the hotel has 300 room. They really prefer that group to bring the 250 or 300 people to occupy the old facility. So really, they can operate their business very effectively. And then plated breakfast, that is the always customized by, customized by the menu. So that would be the price per person. And then when you order this plated breakfast, but priced per person, but group rate. So we have 100 people meeting, and then we're gonna have a plated breakfast from 7 to 8 o'clock, with followed by the general session. The price will be different depending on the menu and depending on the people. So when you book 100 people, they will prepare the 100 plus 5% of the buffer. Like this is kind of they make some additional ones. So if you have accidentally we have more people joining, and then they prepare the extra one without the extra money, but they can prepare that accidentally just add more thing. But we made a contract. We made a contract on 100 people, but the night before we didn't have we have some severe weather, so we didn't have 100 people didn't arrive on time, and then we only have 80 people to have breakfast. That do you pay only 80 people plate or the breakfast or 100? That is a kind of attrition, that terminology that we need to in the sign in the like a contract. When you sign, we have to consider the attrition rate. So usually attrition rate is we need to calculate, we need to make appointment that that 90% of people show up, and then so it's so based on the agreement with the hotel or catering company and the event planner, so we can kind of reduce make some agreement how we're gonna pay, even though we didn't have that contracted number show up. That is attrition. And the refreshment break. So this is coffee break, networking break. Do you know coffee is more expensive than gas? Okay, that is much more expensive than gas. So like a gallon of the coffee, that is a really revenue generator for the hotel. And then we have a coffee break, we have a networking break. Just the break indicate the pause in the formal agenda of the meeting. So when you have an event, and then like a large event, during the session, during the program, they just walk around. It has some social networking break or just break. So coffee is essential. And usually, as depending on the meeting, usually that refresh break is 30 minutes. It's a max. Some academic meeting and the corporate meeting, 15 minutes, 30 minutes is max. And then food and beverage side, we can raise the service from the simple or elaborate. So we can extend our breakfast menu, the continental menu. There is some snack and then fruit or their pastry. We can that is kind of negotiation with the hotel and catering company, and then we can maintain our move our breakfast dry food to the break menu too, so we can reduce the food waste, and also we can effectively use our food beverage resources. And then we can creatively themed and creatively design the break area as well, and then priced by amount or per person. So as your event planner, if your event is really limited, but the limited budget, and then you can design very limited service for that one. So if your event is a budget event for your like a 30 people corporate meeting and 50 people the corporate meeting, if you use a conference center, they have a CMP, like the conference meeting package that. So the per person price. So they just provide some setup service. Already decide to set up the menu. It's not customized menu. And if you anything you ask the hotel or venue to customize the menu, that is extra cost. Lunch is the same thing. Buffet, plated service, is different. And then as I mentioned, multinational, multicultural attendees. If you have the multicultural, like a global meeting, the lunch time is not just meal time. So it's more the buffet or plate service. It's requires some like a speaker or entertainment event as well. So during the lunch time, they have some speaker, and then you might invite the sponsors to talk about their company. So lunch time, when you serve the food and beverage, and at the same time there has a program going on. Menu and quantity may affect afternoon concentration. So if you provide some drink in the lunch time, yeah, so some event, yeah, right. Wine or champagne or some beer, you can provide some alcoholic beverage in the lunchtime. Sometimes they might affect the afternoon program. Okay. Reception, usually the reception start like a late afternoon, like before a meal or before the after program. So the reception start 4 or 5 o'clock. Sometimes it's a heavy reception can replace the dinner time. So your event has some limited budget. We do not fully offer the dinner service, that you can offer this reception as your dinner, the alternative dinner. And then this reception may include some music or entertainment, and then frequently, mostly include some alcoholic service. So I'm going to talk more alcoholic service later on. Oh, here, sorry. The reception beverage option is if you have alcohol and without alcohol, there is big differences. There is a hosted bar. Hosted bar is, your event host pay everything. So there's no charge to attend. Sometimes attendee bring their cash, the single beer, so they just pay tips. But actually for the drink itself, they do not pay anything. So control through the offering, this kind of a contract with your client, corporate client. And then corporate client, we're going to have an open bar from time. So the contract is by time. So we're going to provide the open bar from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock or unlimited service. Okay, based on the corporation, their purpose of that. So they make a contract with that. So their corporation provide this event for their employee, and then this is kind of incentive trip and then unlimited service based on their event objective and then goal. They can decide this one. Yeah. The cash bar is they provide the bar area. The attendee should pay each glass. Sometimes we can mix with host bar and then cash bar, so we can provide a coupon. Like this is your beverage ticket for the bar, that you can have 1 or 2 tickets. With the ticket, we can have a free the beverage. As an attendee, we can have a free the beverage. And then after that, we can pay cash and then keep having drinking over there. But in this case, it's open bar, mean unlimited service. It's based on the contract, but your professional bartender, certified bartender should control the alcohol consumption. Without that, you may consider liability issue when your attendee got drunk and then make them problem over there. I had the experience. So yeah, so we didn't recognize our clients that drunk and then yeah, just make some noise and problem. So that kind of things that happen. Then the cash bar is the most cost effective for hosts because hosts just ask the hotel to provide the bar. That is the cost, but actually actual cost is paid by the attendees. So that is the most cost effective for host. And then reduce the host organization's liability because that is attendee pay their money and then that's their reliability and it's kind of reduced. But we cannot remove all liability issue even though we offer the cash bar because as an event host, we are responsible for any possible accident and unfortunate happening. Okay, bar charge. So when you have open bar, that is kind of a contract by the corporation. So like an event host. So from my experience, yeah, we want to have a host bar from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. After that is to go to the cash bar or just close the bar. So based on the contract they serve, and then set time period, and then we can make some brand. Like we want to have this brand. Yeah, we kind of plan the beverage menu for that, and the per drink, and then often use ticket, and then per bottle, and yeah. After has a open bar, hosted bar, and then we can pay per person per time, or after that we calculate how many bottles we use for the event. So there is a different way we can charge, we can pay it. And then reception food. When you have a reception, just people standing up and then socialize. There is the different type of the server, the waiter and the waitress, the move around to provide the food, finger food, audible. That is a price per person. We can make some contract. We have 100 people and then 2 hours, 2 hours reception, and then let's make up the plan that the one people may have 5 pieces of the audible. So based on the menu, we can make a contract. And also there is 2 different ways: food station and past platter. People just reception. The definition is just reception. It's the mostly standing up, and then there is a food station. People look around, and then they just pick up food, and then there is a server that work around the serve the food. So there is 2 different way. And then if your event is kind of VIP event, like a high-end event, you may not want to have a food station because the people just seeking around the food and they pick their menu. But past platter is a server just work around and provide the food to them. So that is a more high-end event and past platter. And then buffet. And then, that's this question. So which would be the most appropriate at the formal reception thank donor, like VIP to the Society Educational Foundation? What would be the one? Oh, good one. I want to say 1 or 2. One is first one. 1, 2. Type here in the chat box which would be the better service. Okay. Okay, here we go. That's type 2. Passed on the platter by waiter step. Okay, 2, 2. Okay, yes. So we need to design based on our attendees, and then which type of bar service would be most appropriate for this reception. Okay, 2. Okay. So based on your event goal and objective, and based on your attendees, you need to choose the food and beverage service. Anyway, okay. So Yeah, so your event, you invite lots of VIP donate to your organization. But if you provide the food, the cash bar, that is kind of like a ruin your reputation, organization reputation. It's kind of, you really didn't consider your type of event. Okay. So dinner is thing that, oh my God, I just the time. The dinner is informal and formal. There is food buffet, sitting, serve, the theme, and then we have a lot of event. Mostly I was involved in the gala dinners. That is the dinner time themed event, costume, decoration, staging, and then audio visual, and then writing, and then we may have some dance floor entertainment. Okay, type of dining service is okay. Type of the dining service is a buffet, the cafeteria type of that, an exhibition or chef station, and action station. So the action station is mere the brought up the chef working the make of food in the station. That is a very popular when you go to the casino, hotel, the buffet restaurant. There is always action station, and then seating is casual or open. So casual or open or seated. So you have the reserve the table, or you can make a reserve the seat for the event. So here, yeah, this one is another thing. Service is a plated or platter, means it's all they plated and serve the plate. Sometimes your table is set with dishes and plate, and then your server bring some food and then serve the food in the table. That is a kind of English type, and then another like a European country how they serve the food and their event. So that is the more like English, no, not English, French service and Russian service. Okay, seating. So that is a different assigned table. So if you are invited to some kind of VIP event, they assign the table. Your table is numbered, table is assigned. Sometimes it's a really important event because you're the country like the President Biden's like a donation event, their campaign event. Based on your donation money, they assign the seat. So assigned seat is kind of class. So assigned seat is really important who are sitting in the next to you. So that is something that sometimes event planner only assigned one person, like a high level person to work assigned seat. This is really political. This is lot of work involved with the client. Then place card, so the name card there may involve the specific protocol. So imagine that meeting is a different level. So there is an international, like a country level summit event, like a G20 and like a UN event. They have a seated, and then they have some specific protocol for that. BUO. So Liz, last week, Liz mentioned about the BUO, that is banquet event order. And then I posted some example template in the module, and also this coming Thursday, Katie and then Kathleen bring up their example too. So that is a BUO banquet event order. That is every detail information there. So it's like a timeline. What time they serve the food, what time they serve the dessert, and then who's charging of that, what is the table layout, what is the desk, how many table, seat, the AV service, something. And then, yeah, we have some example in the module, and then we have very fresh, like the example from our Katie and then Caitlin. Function sheet is some detailed thing that primary control document for meeting planner. Like we can say that it's a Q sheet, or as an event planner, we have some timeline of that script. Okay, and then function sheet include the base price. That is the function sheet also includes the budget component, base price, and then tax. Tax is not negotiable, but service charge is the percent of additional facility offset cost. Usually obligatory, but occasionally negotiable. And also this is the different between the state by state. So Colorado, your service charge is belongs to employer, the hotel. Sometimes some state service charge it's kind of alternative way of tips, so that go to the employee. So it's kind of different. Gratitude is a tip, but they charge additional charge in the directory serving staff. And then plus, that means we had tax plus gratitude at the base cost, and then tax gratitude service charge. So if you have a contract with your event venue, you have to consider that kind of additional cost. That is kind of a first, like that is the mistake for the new event planner, like a junior event planner. You may not consider tax and the service charge. We actually pay for that. Okay, the guarantee, that is something that I said that, and we make a contract like 100 people. The 100 people food and beverage, we're gonna have a 100 people dinner, and then, but of catering and as an event planner, we expect the final number should not be exact 100 people. So even though we had a contract 6 months before, like 72 hours before, like usually 48 or 72 hours before, 3 days before, we need to guarantee, like finalize the number of attendees. So overall, they provide this buffer, 3% or 10% of the buffer. Think about, we have 1,000 people, 30% is 30, right? And then the 100 people is 30. So there is a different portion of that. So if you have a large event, you have a range is 30%, but if you have small event and your buffer is more, the percentage is larger. And then final charge will be either guaranteed number or actual number served, whichever is higher. So your guaranteed number is 100 people, and then you have 1 or 5 people show up, and then it's depending on your contract. You can have just 100 people, they serve the 1 or 5, and then you can pay 100. That is kind of a buffer, but based on your contract, you should charge higher one. If you clarify in your contract, you have to pay higher one. So 3, another thing is health issue, sustainability issue, and then another thing I want to highlight is the sustainability is not equal to green. Green is one of the sustainability issue, the part of that. So this is green is environmental friendly. So like food donation is a very sustainable, the behavior is not a green. So sustainability is make extra effort to make our community stronger. So green is one of the portion of sustainability is not equal to. Okay, another dietary preference is the kind of our common sense that vegan, lacto-vegetarian, over-vegetarian, lacto-vegetarian, proletarian, pescatarian. So this is our dietary preference. So when you collect the data from your registration, and then this is a food and beverage service type cafeteria. And then I want to think this one, family style English service. That means we can reduce food waste, this type of thing, because we do not have we have an individual platter, but main dish has a big plate, so we can share with the food. Okay, so that's something that we can reduce the food waste, and there's more like a group table. And the Russian service, the Russian service is they set up, plate is set up at the server, place the plate in front of the guest. The American style is just already plated here, and then the server serve the plated here. So this is kind of a different type of service in here. And then sorry about that one. And then we have a professional, guys, I have 2 more slides here. Professional association is nice. That is a nice mean the National Association for Catering and Event. And also this topic, food and beverage, you're gonna learn more in the catering, the strategic, the course, we have EBT 3100, that is catering service course. So every semester we offer that course. So you can learn, you can deep more about the catering service. And then this week, our in-class exercise is by tonight. And then I'm going to collect your question here. This, if you go to our in-class exercise, you can click this. And also I provide the website. This is website. And also they have online booking system. So just explore their resources. And then Katie, and then this is Caitlin. And then I share some the bio with you. Oh, the page already did. So, this is the question I want you guys to line up. And then I just download this file, and tonight I'm going to send this file to Katie and then Caitlin. So they will prepare some answer for Thursday. Okay? So thank you very much for your consideration, your understanding. I kind of overtime this class. So do you have any other question? Okay. Thank you very much for your attendance and your participation. And then please complete your in-class exercise. And then I really encourage you guys to make a connection with them here. This is the LinkedIn. Please make a connection with them. Okay. So see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.